All right, can we hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. What a morning. Always something. So if you're out there, I appreciate it. I'm going to check and see what we look like. Looking. Live. All right, I think I'm working. Good morning, everybody. I was a little bit behind, I know. Always something. There's always something. Okay, I've got some audio going. I know that that's happening. We're good there. I'm going to go ahead and mute that so I don't have to listen. All right. Yeah, so I'm talking. I had a bit of a hiccup this morning getting my stream going because I was set up in the wrong direction and I had to set my restream feed out and through Zoom and had a little bit of problem doing that. So I've got a couple of things to start doing before I get started proper, but yeah, what a morning. So yeah, I'm going to start this morning by talking about task saturation, and I'm pretty much there. I've got a whole bunch of things running, and I am fully 20 minutes behind. So if you're watching this, I appreciate it. If you're not watching, I understand. And but we're looking like we got the right things going at the right places. So now I'm going to narrate through what I'm doing next so that I have a later on when I pull the transcript of this, I'll know what I did. I had to adjust my restream keys going through Zoom. I need to put in my RTMP key and then put that down in my streaming in the third field at the bottom of the Zoom launch window and change that to HTTPS. So I need to remember to do that. So if you're listening now, this is really me talking through what I'm doing. If you don't, you're not going to necessarily see what I'm doing yet, but I'm getting there. This is going to take me a couple of minutes, so I appreciate your patience. It's one of those mornings, for sure. So yeah, this is the setup that I'm going to be using for my live show on February 19th about how to do all of this Zoom stuff. So hopefully I'll have all the little kinks worked out of it by then. This is pretty complex for one person. So if you are watching, this is the exact type of thing that you very well might run into. I've just got so many things open right now. I'm needing to update now I'm updating my hang on. All right, so I'm posting the link into my website right now. And that looks like that's working, so I'll update that. So it should be up on my website now. Well, I gotta log this back. That's not logging either. Boy, I'm just having a morning. All right, let's go back. Checklists. That's actually what I'm talking about this morning is checklists. And I was going through mine and I got ahead of myself. So, again, this is really me all over the place, basically. All right, so website's updated. I'm going to put an update. I need to update another site that's not automatic. Now I just have to find that. That was updating my LinkedIn. I'm going to post to that. Let's see if that works. Posts. Boy, oh boy, yeah, this is just a mess this morning. I do appreciate your patience. Behind the scenes, always fun. Okay, so okay, I'm waiting for that to refresh. All right. So, links up on LinkedIn if you're watching there. Now I'm going to check my Facebook and see how that's looking. Hopefully that's looking good. I'm going to refresh that. This is all the stuff I would have normally been doing before my feed, but I had trouble getting my feed out. All right, so Facebook is up. That looks good. All right. Refresh my site, make sure that's looking good. Okay, refreshed on the site. That's looking good. Now I'm going to check my Twitch stream. I'm live on there. Live on Twitch. If you're with me on Twitch, I appreciate you. Give me a shout out in the chat. I will get to that as I get through all the rest of this mess that I created this morning. Oh, I'll just pull that up. Why not? Because I'm here. Good morning, Joe. Thanks for showing up. This is a mess. Boy, oh boy, I am fully out at task saturation this morning. I had a bit of trouble getting my Zoom. I'm streaming from Zoom, so I had to put that up in there and get that stream key all settled. So that was a little bit of a mess. I had to do some Googling on that one. I think I figured it out. All right, so we're looking semi-okay there. Okay, we're looking semi-okay there. All right, let's see what the stream is actually looking like. I'm pulling up my stream manager right now, and that looks like it is doing fine. Okay, so I've got all the platforms that I'm streaming out to right now. I've got those updated and checked, and those are all looking good, except now I'm overloading my encoder. Great. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty much maxing out most of what I'm doing. That's all good. I'm gonna then just, let's see, what do I want to do? I'm going to just close a whole bunch of those windows, and I'm going to bring this one up, bringing my Zoom meeting up. I actually have content this morning, believe it or not. All right. Believe it or not. Once I get it going. This is why I practice everything. All right, that seemed to settle down a little bit. Yeah, I had a lot of Google Chrome windows open. So, let's see, that looks good. I can get rid of that. This looks good. Oh, come on. All right, I can get rid of that. So this is taking me fully 10 minutes just to get past my initial hiccup. So I'm going to want to trim some of this. All right, that's looking good. Let's see there, that's looking good. Okay, I can see my chat. Thank you very much. We're almost there. We're almost there. Believe it or not, we're almost there. boy. Okay, we're going to assume I didn't do anything there. That's fine. Okay, so I'm just going through and closing windows now. Everything I don't need, I'm just closing it because I am loaded this morning. Pushing that old system of mine. Okay, so we are looking fine now-ish, sort of. No, I don't need any of that. That's a whole other set of tabs I can get rid of. Yes, I want to leave this. No. Whew, this is just turning into a morning. Love going live. It's the funnest part of my day. Go live. Nothing will go wrong. Sure. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Seriously, I'm here. If you can hear me, I'm here. For real. I'm still here. Playing. This is one of those mornings. This is going to be so much fun. All right. If you're still hanging around out there, I really am almost there. It's only taken me 15 minutes to get this mess cleaned up. Okay. It's taken me 15 minutes. Fully 15 minutes. Okay, great. That is working. I'm going to go back and check that in a minute. Boy, oh boy, what a frickin'. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to swear. I usually don't. Just having one of those mornings. All right, if you've ever been out here live streaming before, I'm sure you can understand. All right. Okay, moving on. Let's see. All right, we're getting there. One more thing. Boy. Okay, you can start making fun of me today. Today is me just over the top, making too much of a mess. Nowhere near as prepared as I should have been. Nowhere near. So yeah, if you're out there, go ahead and start making fun of me. This is really I could use a little ribbing because I am just all over the place. All right, let's go. Oops. I know. I'm usually so put together, but this morning I've got just too many things. Too many things. All the things. All the things. Let's see. Do I have a good excuse? Yeah, I got a pretty good excuse. I'll get to it. Okay. Looks like you can hear me. Got one more thing to do. This is just egregious. Egregious errors this morning. Complete lack of... Alright, one more. Wow. Over 15 minutes to clean this up. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, here we are getting... Okay, we're almost there. We are almost there. Huh. Boy. Alright, I'll go ahead and move that one. That is set. Oh boy, what a... got some choice words for this one, but man. Okay. I need that to put you somewhere where I can actually see you. All right. Let me at least do this to see if this part works. Hi, everybody. Yeah, okay, it works. Woohoo! All right. Good morning. My name is Michael Kyer, and I'm fully a half an hour late. That is, I don't think that's ever happened. Yeah, what a mess. What a mess. Anyway, so it actually goes to exactly what I'm talking about this morning, which is task saturation. I have got so many things running. Started it all by myself earlier this morning. Did my usual stream setup, got ready to go, and then it was just one more thing after the other. And finally, when I got to the point when I was actually at my normal go live point, I realized that I was setting up to stream out of OBS. And what I wanted to do was to be streaming out of Zoom. And so when you stream out of Zoom to a custom platform, you've got 3 different things that you need to put into the go live field to get things moving, and I didn't have them typed in correctly. It was one of those. Then I was Googling what was wrong, and it was a typo. So it kind of what a mess. Anyway, I'm here. Hi. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I would be embarrassed, but my brain's going about 1,000,000 miles an hour as far as everything I need to keep in mind. So if you're out there and you're in the chat, leave me a message and tell me that you won't ever come again, you won't ever show up, and you just feel like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Stream Maestro, no, he doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway, my name is Michael Kyer. I use he, him pronouns. I'm out here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, trying to stream. Anyway, having a good time most of the time, and this morning it was work. Usually going live is the fun part of all this. Hit that button, go live, engage with your audience, you do your presentation, and then there's days like this when it's Googling how to fix typos. So anyway, I'm having actually a pretty good time with this. If you're expecting anything out of today's stream, you can pretty much forget it. I've got actually a program that I'm going to get to, and it's exactly about all of this. exactly about checklists and the instructions you're sending to your guests, as in don't expect anything. Maybe might be the first line in there. So here we are on the internet. My name is Michael Kyer. I use he, him pronouns. I'm out here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, talking about software, talking about streaming. And this month, what I'm doing is I'm going through all of the pieces and parts that you need to do to create a really large online event. And I'm doing it from the perspective of if you're doing it by yourself. If you're a solo operator out there and you're doing it by yourself, I'm trying to present this in a way that makes some sense, to kind of put some framework around it, so that when you do go live, when you do make that large event, that you've got everything accounted for. And obviously this morning I did not have a few things accounted for, and I had not prepared those. So when I got to them and they tripped me up, I was not quite able to make it where I was going. So that's where we're at with things. I appreciate it. It looks like the stream is going good now. I'm happy with it, I suppose. So anyway, what I'm doing is putting this together and showing all the different things that you need to do to make a successful large online event. And this is everything. This is going to be crafting the event itself with your software and your streaming and your graphics and everything that you're going to be sharing during your event, but also all of the preliminary work to get things organized, to get the word out there, to get everything advertised and marketed, and so your friends know, so that they'll show up at the right time, at the right date. So if you're with me and you want to come and watch more of me making a mess, February 19th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. That's when I'm going to be putting this on, and it's going to be an event about creating an event. So kind of boring, kind of whatever. It's a demonstration. It'll be a demonstration for the most part. We'll be demonstrating all of the different things that you can do in an event. And then over the course of the next month, I'm going to be talking about all the bits and pieces. So with that said, getting into the program proper, fully 40 minutes after, that's a record of being late. A record. I can set a huge record on this. Yeah. Okay. So where are we at today? We started off. This is part 4. Okay. This is part 4, and part 1 was really just making that decision to go live. I'm going to do this. I have something that I want to present. I made that decision. Part 2 then was doing a quick draft of what are all the things that we're going to have to take into account. Guests, moderators, all your platforms. We made a quick list of those and talked about those a little bit. That was part 2. Part 3 was kind of boring. We went through and created a bunch of documents in Google Drive and made a folder, our scene list, a whole bunch of other things, and I'm going to put out a link to that so that you can follow along as we start to fill that out. We didn't fill it out too much, just kind of put down a couple of basic, ideas of things that are going to ultimately go in there, but didn't really get to filling it in. Today, we're going to fill it in. I fill in a couple of things on there, some of your checklists and your guest instructions, because we want to, ahead of time, be able to tell folks what we're using. Are we going to be using the chat? Are there any particular technical instructions that you might want to share with your audience if you've got an audience that isn't as familiar with Zoom, that might have some accessibility concerns that you might want to address. So we'll be putting out a checklist of those things. Usually I try to use those, but this morning I didn't quite get to them because I've got an even more complex checklist. So if part 3, making the documents, was boring, then this part will be probably absolutely terrifying. We've got a list of there's 3 multiple levels of this. You've got your guest instructions, you've got your instructions for your co-host moderators, you got your live instructions, and then instructions for yourself. So the way I'm breaking it up would be the instructions for yourself. This is the high level, sort of everything level of things. Today we're going to go into the next thing. What do you want to do? What do you want to present to your guests? So we have a list of that, because that's going to go in our advertisement copy. That's going to go out in our email. That's going to go out in our reminders. That's going to go in our Google Calendar link. All of these things are things that we're going to incorporate. So we're going to start showing some of that copy today with a few best practices while you're putting that copy together. So that's where we're headed with this. Part 4, instructions and checklists. Now that we've actually gotten here, we can show some of that. So what am I going to do? I am actually streaming from Zoom today. I'm testing out my Zoom feed to see how Zoom streams out to Restream, and I'm using OBS to do my screen capture and my screen capture and using the virtual camera. See, I'm getting confused already, getting confused again. Using the virtual camera, I'm sending that to Zoom. So when I'm in my Zoom meeting for my event on February 19th, with lots and lots of people, I can use Zoom with everybody, but then I can use my camera feed to show them, you know, a more complicated program than you could just with your basic Zoom instructions. Your share screen is great, it works, but it's limited in certain ways. So as we go through this and I use this more often, I'm going to get more familiar with how Zoom is working, and if you're doing the same thing, I encourage you really need to practice. There's so many settings, so many considerations as you go through this. So first checklist. Let me switch over. I'm going to switch over to my desktop now. So I'm spotlighting myself in Zoom, and I'll show you that. Sure. I'm going to switch over to my desktop display, and okay, now there you go. You've got the infinite windows. All right, so I'm using OBS. It's capturing my desktop, sending that to Zoom, and then Zoom's taking a picture of that, taking a picture of that, taking a picture of that. Ad infinitum, down into probably a single pixel. That's probably about as far as it goes. So you can see my desktop. You can see me what I'm doing in Zoom, and I'm going to go ahead and I've got myself spotlighted. I've got my feed spotlighted. That's what's going out to YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else. So I'm going to get that out of the way. I was mainly using that to test out Zoom. So I'm doing multiple things today, multitasking, and getting into task saturation. It's a big thing. And when you've got this many things going on, task saturation is a very real issue to deal with. And I said this on a couple of different occasions that if there's any air traffic controllers or pilots out there, you understand there's so many things going on at one time. You're trying to keep track of all of them. You get to the point where you're not going to be able to keep track of all of them. And checklists become very, very, very important. So this is the list of everything we were working on in our folder for our event. Right now we've just got this one thing on here, and I'm going to show you that. Now I put a few things in here that weren't in there before, and if you RSVP for the event, you're going to get this, and it has a whole bunch of links in it. But I've added these in the description, and this is one of the things I really like about the Google and Google Calendar, is that you can add this description, you can update it, your guests are going to get the updated version of this, so if you change things, they'll know, and you can put your Zoom link in here, you can put all of the links like I've put in here, so to my website, an actual page for the event, this resource folder with all of the different documents that we've created that you can see, that's more of a template, and then a list of all the channels that I'm broadcasting to if somebody wasn't at the Zoom meeting, they wanted to see on any one of these channels. So that's one of the things I filled in from last time. That's different. But it's a good starting place. We've made our decision, what day, time, and this is our first point of contact that we're going to send out for folks who are willing to RSVP. So, planning notes. Actually, let me show you the folder. We still got the same number, same list of folder documents, though I haven't added anything to those. Those are the same. But I did change the calendar, so we're going to change that. Planning notes. So I've added a little bit more to this one. We just had this first couple of few things on here before. We're going to, I encourage people to use their pronouns. This is just your planning document. But from here, you can fill this in. Your primary contact, all the different links that you're going to be using. This is a good spot. This was, a repetition of what was in my calendar description, and then a list of everybody who's going to be your main co-hosts and your main speakers. So you can fill that in. Now, guest instructions. This is where we're at today, and your live instructions. Oh, and your moderator instructions. Gotta put your moderators in there. Moderator instructions. Okay, auto-complete I should have used. Guest instructions. So there really are only so many things that you can tell your guests about. You can't troubleshoot every possible technical detail that they have with or could potentially have. But you can send them in order of service or the agenda. You can give them a couple of technical suggestions, and then you're going to be able to tell them about the things that you're working on. So over time, I try to give people a bunch of different technical instructions, but really the best advice is to tell people to update their Zoom application, and then if there are technical questions going into that, is to use the Zoom chatbot, which is on the Zoom homepage, and its name is Bolt. He's got a little name. He's a little chatbot. You type in your problem, it can give you very specific instructions about your system, and it's just a fantastic resource if you're looking for information about how to troubleshoot a problem with your system. So I used to try and tell, if you're on a Mac or if you're on Windows, try and provide all of that information, but it just makes your description far too long. So then beyond that, for your guests, is telling them how to optimize their connection, connecting to directly to the router through a cable versus Wi-Fi, or if they're on Wi-Fi, to get as close to the Wi-Fi router as possible. Try not to have a wall between you and your Wi-Fi router. Those are really about as many technical suggestions as you can give your guests that really make sense to be able to do so. Now, if there's something specific for your audience that you knew of, then you can include that. But as far as general instructions for your guests, that's about as detailed as I like to get. Now we can fill those in a little bit more, like how to get to Zoom chatbot and that type of thing. But for right now, that just is a real quick overview. And then I always like to put a list of the things we're going to use. You know, there will be a waiting room. Remind them to join audio. We'll have the mute in the video. You know, is a mute going to be? Are they going to be able to unmute themselves? Are they going to be able to turn their video on? And also a reminder that they don't have to turn their video on if they don't want to, from a comfort perspective. So guest instructions, pretty simple. And that, once we get those crafted correctly, we can put that into our Google Calendar link, and we can update that as we go. If we find that we get some feedback that maybe we need another instruction in there, we can update that later on down the line. And then optionals, you know, chat, closed captions, reactions, that type of thing. So those are a set of guest instructions that we're going to be able to put in. Live instructions are very similar, but we're not going to get, I don't usually try to get into the technical end of it, but more what is it we're going to be using, and then start putting links in the chat. The chat's a great way to use to get to some of these, you know, these text things. Right now I'm just reading off of my you know, off of my document, which I usually say don't do this, but today that's what I'm doing. So moderator instructions is where we get to be a little bit more detailed, and I'm going to pull up a separate document for that to show some of those. But then I included some of the our initial planning notes, you know, when we were going to do it, who we were going to invite, things we want to keep in mind, where we're going to be going with this, where we're going to be broadcasting to, and then you know, a further list of things that we're going to be getting into later on. Games, you know, after party, that type of thing. So a little bit more on the planning notes than there were there, but that is about it for that right now. I'll be putting a link out to this if you want to follow along as I develop this, but so for right now, that's it. I haven't changed anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and dump those. Dump all of those. There we go. Okay, actually, now let me just switch back and say hi again. So, all right, just a quick piece about what we went through and some of the changes I made to that. Looks like we're still moving along pretty good, so I'm gonna check one more time if how this is looking, how this is sounding. Refresh my live stream on YouTube, and we're back. Okay, good. Looks good. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and close those down. I don't need those anymore. Getting a little bit more efficient at checking those. I would put that off onto a moderator. That would go in my moderator instructions. My moderator instructions. That I'm going to want you to check this and check this and check this again and double check that that's working, and those are my moderator instructions. But when you go live for that first time, and just for, let's take all of the complication out of it for a second. You're just going to do a Zoom meeting, and you're going to use just a few documents. You know, you're going to use a script, say, and a slide presentation. All right, nothing complicated. You're doing a simple Zoom meeting. I had a few clients who really didn't understand what needed to happen beforehand, so they showed up late to the preparation. We usually go on about a half an hour live. Maybe a little bit more if we need some more presentation time. But they showed up really late, like, you know, with 10 minutes to go, and there was this whole list of things like that threw me today on my stream. That just it was a lot of stuff to go through. So what I figured out I needed to do was to give a list of, you know, a quick list anyway of all the things that we need to do. And when I did that, I quickly realized that there's a lot of things, even with a basic meeting. So that's what I'm gonna pull up now. If I can find it, because it's buried somewhere. It's buried somewhere. Not there. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Ho, ho, ho. Where did you go? Now I've lost it. See, too many. Ah, yes, found it. Found it. Okay, so this is a list of all the things. Now I gotta switch my feed again. Okay, there you go. This is going to be a list of all the things to do a simple Zoom meeting. So if you're looking at this, let me zoom in on this a little bit more. If you're looking at this, each one of these things takes a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to do. And so as I scroll down this list, I'm not going to read through all of this, but as I scroll down this list, you're going to get an idea of all of the different things it takes just to do a simple Zoom meeting. So on top of this checklist, we'll have another more detailed checklist for our moderators as we get even more detailed. So there'll be additions to this. We'll extrapolate some of these. But so 1 hour prior, you're going to do all of these things. 30 minutes prior, you're going to do all of these things. You're going to check all these different checks that you can do. We're going to check all the settings. Settings, I always talk about settings. Settings. We're going to do all of those. Once we've actually got our speakers in, we're going to do all of these things. We're going to make assignments. We're going to clarify. Then we get to the point where we actually go live. And we've got all these things to do. So this is just a list that I did, a quick list. And I came up with 36 things that we're doing before we go live. And so it's a pretty big list. Now, when I'm doing finally get live, I try to remember, this is a little acronym right here. I don't know what you're saying, and can you please stop using those big words? Use words like ISP, bandwidth, DSL, Ethernet, router. These are all words that I am used to using, but my audience may not be using them, may not understand those. So if I'm going through, once I've gone through this huge checklist, then I need to go back to simplicity. Go back to something that is easier for my audience to understand. So again, these are checklist reminders of things. So when I start this, my minimum assumption is that people have an internet, they can access a browser search, and they're able to use their mouse. And that's still some pretty big assumptions. So even more checklists, even more detail, different things you can use. This is just a list of potential programs that you might have, things I need to do in Google Drive. We've already seen a bunch of these today, and this is just a little short piece of this, and then all the rest of these. That it's a huge list, and that's just a basic checklist of things you can go through to get ready for a Zoom meeting. You don't have to do all these. You don't have to, but it pays to. It pays to take the time. On part 3, we took over an hour to talk about all of those basic documents, and didn't even fill them in. But those are the really important things, because you're going to reference back to them, reference back to them, reference back to them. So I'm going to take that technical checklist. I'm going to put that into my list of things we're going to see. I'll then have instructions for my guests, my moderators. A lot of that is my moderator. That's my moderator checklist. That's the folks who are going to actually be operating what we're doing, helping out. That's going to be their checklist. So if you're with me, I appreciate it. My name is Michael Kyer. I use he, him pronouns. I'm out here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, trying to get my stream out, trying to show other people how to stream. And today I made a complete mess of mine. So it happens. Going live, that happens. So I hope, I appreciate it if you've stuck with me, if you are maybe stop back by, if you said this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Appreciate it. So those technical checklists, that's where we're at. We're filling out those documents that we did in part 3. So technical checklists. All right, now let me see, what else do I have for you? What else do I have for you today? How to central. Okay, those, we went through those. Went through those. Planning, guest instructions, setting up. We're set up. We decided to go live. Bam, we're live. And we're into the meeting. We're using all of our things. Okay, we are looking good. We're looking like I covered all of those basic things that I wanted to cover for that. So, few other things before I see. And the thing is, this was going to be a short stream. I wanted to throw that technical checklist out there, let you see that. Because now you're going, oh, my eyes are, it's even more scary than pushing the live button, making that decision to go live. I find the live part fun once you've got all of this initial work done, and then you get to go live and enjoy it. So, gone through our calendar link. We're going to be working on this all month. Task saturation checklists, talked about the planning, talked about my moderator instructions. And in those instructions then, one of the last things I'm going to get to today, I'm going to double check, make sure it is one of the last things I'm going to get to, because there's so many things. Yep, did that, okay. Check this. Oh yes, I'll show you one more nice little thing that we can use. Settings. So you're going to go through and you're going to, the settings that you're going to want to check with your moderators. So that is that you saw the checklist for the basic Zoom meeting. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 8 different broadcast channels. 2 or 3 other helpers, a couple hundred guests. It's going to start to get, pretty big, and there's going to be a lot of things. So practice for sure. Start to get that muscle memory in place. That's what practice is for. Start so that I need to do this, I need to do this. And now I've been practicing for, a couple of months on my stream alone, and I'm still learning things, still gaining that muscle memory. So you're going to go through your settings, go through everything you're doing, hopefully gain some of that muscle memory, and then you can fall back on those checklists when you are doing your show. So the last thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in on this before I even get here, just so I don't have to. So that list from before was just a Word document. But if I really get into this and really start digging into the details of this, I might not use this next thing when I go live, but maybe I will. And I just put everything into a spreadsheet. So go through, I'm going to check off all of these different things in my spreadsheet. This is now a more fleshed out version of everything we've been talking about, with all the extra bits and pieces taken out. These are just things I'm going to check, things that I'm going to develop over the course of the next month. All these different settings that I need to check, live instructions, main functions. So these are, this is, now I'm fully up to a spreadsheet with all my, of my settings. So there you go. There you go. It wasn't even a very long stream. You know, I've been not on here very long, talked about, but you can see how big, how many things you're going to be focusing on as we go. So I'm taking them over a month to do this, to present this, because if you're following along and you're putting on an event of your own, I want you to be able to be prepared. I want you to, you know, have as many pieces of this covered as possible, so that when you go live, your event is a magnificent success, so that your audience enjoys what you're presenting, not in, like in my case, where you're waiting around for 40 minutes for me to get started because I can't get things put together right. So that's where we're at. It's a complicated process. It can be. I think that to some degree the planning process can be actually more scary than the going live part. You can get used to public speaking, but the number of different things that we're dealing with get to be pretty complex. So I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to let that be what it is, and I'm going to go back and trim up my first 15 minutes of my humming and hawing and umming and ahhing, and I don't know what I'm doing, and all of that stuff. So I'm going to go back and make sure that's a little bit more cleaned up for you when you get there. If you're in the future watching this, if you're a future person, make sure. Okay. Let's see. Let's actually just. No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to go through and add, showing what I'm doing with Zoom right now, but I'm not going to, because I've already thoroughly, hopefully, filled up your brain a bit for the day. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you watch. I hope that you leave a comment. And I will see you out there. I'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. on January 14th. And we'll be going into more of this. We're going to be putting together some announcements. We've got our instructions that we're putting out for our moderators, our guests. We've got our live instructions, and now we can start to send out some of this information in our announcements. So if you're stopping by for me, save the date, February 19th. You can come and you can RSVP at my website, michaelkyer.net. There's a big blue button on there. You can click on that and get to the registration form. I'll send out a link to the resource folder that we're putting together over there, and you'll be able to follow along as we go. So that is another resource. I'm going to be putting a link to that up on my website as well. If you don't want to register for the meeting, you don't want to come to the Zoom meeting or to the event, or you can't, you'll still be able to get that. I'm going to put a link up to that on the event page, which is on my website, and it's just how to create a large online event is the extension, the page on there. So that's it. It took me longer to get to my stream than it did to do the stream. You know, going live sometimes is like that. My name is Michael Kyer. I appreciate you stopping by. I use he, him pronouns. I'm out here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Last thing I always like to say is to talk about this virus, and it's bad. I know it's bad. This variant is very contagious. If you are eligible for your vaccines, please get them. If you are waiting to get your booster, go get it when you're ready to get it. We need to get out ahead of this thing. Vaccines are good for you. They're good for your family. They're good for your neighbors. They're good for everybody. We really need to get ahead of this. We've got too much problem. Too much of a problem. It's a big problem. We need to fix it. We need to get ahead of it. Vaccines help. Masks help. That's good science. So please get vaccinated. So, as always, have fun, learn, enjoy, have a good week. See you on Friday, hopefully, if I get my stream going. If I don't make a mess again, maybe. We'll see.